Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. All right.
Good morning. We're so glad y'all are here. We want to open up with a Judge song called Love Can Build a Bridge. I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes on my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I have to eat. I would swim out to save you on your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, to show you what love means. Love can build a bridge. Sing it with us. Between your heart and mine, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly that every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see the first step is to realize the earth will. Love can build a bridge. That's right, sing it. Between your heart and mine, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? It's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything, and we just keep believing in the power. Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love and only love, love and only love, love and only love, love and only love, love and only love. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love and only love. Love and only love. Love and only love. Let's love.
Yeah, there we go. Here I am. Welcome everybody to Jubilee Circle. Thank you so much for being here today. We are actually wrapping up our VIA Creativa theme of practicing the resurrection. Course in Miracles tells us the resurrection demonstrates that truth can never be destroyed. Nothing can destroy it. And so in this VIA, we've been exploring the art of practicing resurrection in our daily life, which just means living in ways that demonstrate that we understand nothing in this world can destroy the truth of us, that we are created in love, that we are created in peace and joy, and we strive to live into that truth about ourselves every day. A Course in Miracles teacher, Marianne Williamson, is fond of saying that your past never happened how you remember it. It doesn't. You ask two people about what happened, and you get two different answers, right? You got your perception, they got theirs. We don't even remember the past, right? But so often, that's where we prefer to live. Not so much by sitting around and reminiscing, but by viewing this present moment through its lens. Now, don't get me wrong. It's right to learn the lessons from your past so you don't repeat mistakes, but most often, we're using the past to judge a moment that doesn't have anything to do with what may or may not have happened before that moment. And we think of some possibility for the future, and the little ego voice in our head goes, oh, that's never going to work. And it'll give you all sorts of evidence that sounds really convincing, so you abandon all plans, and the ego quiets down because it prevented you from doing something that could threaten its role of ruler in your life, or it does the opposite. It gets really loud. After dissuading you from pursuing some new possibility, it berates you for doing exactly what it wanted you to do. And then it calls your entire identity into question. So you want to know how to shut it up? Leave the past behind. Drop the baggage in every moment so you can see the new possibilities that are emerging within you, around you, and you can give them a fighting chance. So this morning, Agape licensed spiritual practitioner Deb Barnes is going to help us sort out how to get the past out of the way so it doesn't cloud our present and keep us afraid to pursue those infinite possibilities that can ultimately help us step into our role as the light of the world, which that will make us all say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we'll get this smoke down as we orient ourselves this morning. We remember the four directions, or we remember the four elements. We'll do the four directions in a second. We have air and water and earth and fire. And we burn sage very well this morning as a reminder to set your intention. To set your intention for yourself personally, for how you want to be and live and emerge in the world. And to set an intention for the world, how you would like to be an influence. So we can all live more joyfully, more peacefully, more lovingly. And we call the four directions as a way to orient ourselves in this sacred space and time. So I invite you to turn and face the east, which is that way. Open our hearts, Holy One, so we can be mindful of this new day. Mindful that each new day dawns with incredible possibilities. Mindful that each new day dawns with new ways of being, new ways of seeing, new ways of doing, and new ways of experiencing your love in, through, and as us. Quarter turn to the right. We face the south. Open our minds, Holy One, and expand our imagination. Bring us new dreams, new hopes, new aspirations, new realms of possibility, so that we can bring what our mind sees into this world. Give us visions of peace. Give us visions of healing. Give us visions of a world united. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west. Open our ears, Holy One, so that we may hear the world around us. Open our ears so those who cry out in pain, in despair, or loneliness will be heard. Open our ears so that we may truly hear our neighbor, and in the hearing our hearts will break, and we will be moved to help, to hold, to heal, to be the miracle for those in pain, those in need, those who long for your peace. Quarter turn to the right, we face the north. Open our eyes, Holy One, so that we may truly see those around us. Open our eyes so that we may not just look at the world, but can really see the world, the bits of the holy in everything, from the trees to the animals, to the plants, to the birds, every human being who walks this earth. Reveal the holy all around us, so we may experience anew your presence with us. And as we turn back toward the center and look around the room, Deb, pass that around. Take a closer look at all those folks around you. Really be here in this minute. Be mindful of this moment. Feel the floor beneath your feet, the air in your lungs, the heat of the body next to you. Breathe deeply. Feel the holiness that's in this precious moment. Feel the holiness in your own body, in your own heart and mind and eyes and ears. Be mindful of the world around you, a world where you can truly hear, feel, see, and live into the divine of each moment, because that is what is going to make you say, oh yeah. Please remain standing. We got a song we're going to sing for you to get us going here. We're going to do a little bit of, this is the Ricky Byers. We've been doing all this VIA, and as we sing, I invite you to feel into this one because this one's going away next week. We're going to have a new regular song. So I invite you to enjoy this one for this morning. And if you are watching on the YouTube and you need a bulletin, you can go to jubileecircle.com, and there's a link right on the front page. There should be a link in the description of the YouTube video you are watching. So do all that and get yourself a bulletin. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. And I invite you to sing along. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. In my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Take it, Bruce. Everybody greet one another. Here we go. I release and I let go. I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. In my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, yeah. All right. Welcome again, everybody. We'll tell you a little bit about Jubilee, and then we'll Move these things on. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity found in mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages, and we use popular music, teachings, weekly celebrations, educational, artistic events, and other community building activities because we're trying to create a space for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world. We believe we're here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation so complete from the inside out that we live more fully, more often, in our higher divine self. It's aspirational, people. We're not going to do it perfectly. But we also recognize we're God's good creation. We're formed in love and joy as well as stardust. And we humans, we forget that. We get popped out into the world and we start to see you over here and you over there and me over here. And then the judging starts. And then we look at each other and go, oh, they're beautiful. Oh, they're ugly. Oh, they're good. Ooh, those people are bad. They're generous. They're stingy. They're loving. And those people are just so recalcitrant. Mumpsimus. But jubilants, let us remember, we have never left our home in God. We are asleep in this world, and it is our job to live so that we learn our lessons, so we can awaken, and as the Course says, make that journey without distance, and know that we have always been home in the mind and heart of God, and that, it makes you say, oh yeah, hear these wise and holy words.
It's a very eclectic readings today.
Good. Very Jubilee.
So from Mark Twain. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. That reminds me of my mother. I just thought, she just didn't get it. She just didn't get it. But then as I got older, I said, oh my God, she was right. What goes around does come around.
Look at how wise she got.
You know, I didn't even know she knew the law of cause and effect.
Happy Father's Day, by the way. I don't think we've even said that.
I was going to get to that. Happy Father's Day. Absolutely. And I will get to that a little further.
All right.
All right. In front of one of my favorite teachers, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and also Medea has said this too.
She's the better
But
theologian.
I didn't feel like I should quote Medea on Sunday. But, you know, hey,
She's a great
within
theologian,
edge.
too.
Yes.
She is.
There are people who can walk away from you. Let them walk.
Right. Oh,
I've
yeah.
also heard some people say help them pack.
Right.
I've done that, but I can tell you if you're not in a spirit of love when you're helping them pack, it's not going to go
It's
out
not
well.
the same. Not the same.
But anyway, so let them walk. I don't want you to try to talk a person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring for you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. Your destiny is never tied to anybody that left. Let me say that again. Your destiny is never tied to anybody that ever left.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that their part in the story is over. And you've got to know when people's part in your story is over. And that's something I can't know on my own. I got to tune in and tap into spirit. And then from one of my favorite teachers, Joel S. Goldsmith, the kingdom of God is within us. The whole of the Godhead is to be found within our own individual being. Not in the holy mountains, nor yet in the temple at Jerusalem, but within us. Closer than our breath, nearer than our hands and feet, God is. That's off script.
Oh, yeah. These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. or something like that. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. We're going to sing.
This song is called Merchants of Hope. And I wrote it when I was a middle school teacher. And we were taught in training, and it's just been that's why I signed up for the gig. It wasn't to teach, it was so that I could plant seeds of hope, so that I can inspire kids to want to be more, do more, and have more, and then teach them how to do it. You got to capture their attention. And so that's what we do. We plant seeds of hope. We plant them, we water them. A really good teacher looks below the surface to see what's really going on with a kid. And I had a kid that had been gone for a week. And he came back to my class, and I asked him, I said, "Where have you been?" He said, "Well, Coach, I've been sick." And he said, "But you know what? This was the last period of the day. I've been here all day, and you are the first person that asked me where I had been." And so it was my mission as a teacher and as a leader to show up, to be a merchant of hope. And this is a true story about one of my students and their experience. And so it inspires us all that we are, as unique expressions of God, as miracle workers. It is our job to be miracle workers. We are the hands, feet, eyes, and ears of God to do what God can only do through us. And that is share our gifts and talents and give people hope, inspire them, remind them of the truth of their being. And so this is called Merchants of Hope. Staring out a window, I'm sure she sees a rose-colored painting of how life should be, a victim of choices, loves that don't last, her reasons for living, a role in the past. She needs a merchant of hope to plant a seed. Look below the surface and see the unseen. And one steamy evening, about the end of May, a jealous man took a mama away. A girl stood in the doorway, a world broken in two. She fell to her knees and cried. She needs a merchant of hope, someone who cares, who's ready and willing to be a child's answered prayer. what we all need to be. 'Cause it's the giving that sets us free. Too many to mention, but they're all the same. Crying out for mercy, darling, heaven need merchants of hope to plant a seed. Look below the surface and see the unseen. And merchants of hope, daring to care, ready and willing to be an answered prayer. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. You guys did a wonderful job. Don't you love that cello? Oh my God. Thank you.
With the crown on.
Thank you.
Here, I'm gonna pin your,
Got a pen?
pin this all together.
Oh, thank you. God bless you. That way I won't lose my sash in front of everybody.
No, you still got no room.
Just watched my full-figured girl right there. That's why I like that guitar. It kind of covers up, you know. It covers up the full-figured girl. That's all right. I'm not ashamed. I have my mother's, you know. I'm very blessed. Let's begin today, this, as I always do, in evoking the spirit that is within us. Just a short prayer. How grateful I am to be here right now, to be in this moment with so many beloved, mighty companions, both in the room and in YouTube land, in consciousness. Grateful for my father and all the fathers that were used as a vehicle to flow us into this space. Grateful that God is our mother, father. It is all encompassing. Grateful for Jubilee and the board and the band and the text and everything that comes together, the consciousness that creates this welcoming, holy environment. It is holy because we carry the Spirit of the living God in us, as us. And God is everywhere. There is no place or space where God is not. We live in a friendly universe. God is always for us and never, ever against us. We are sourced and supplied by this infinite intelligence, this divine wisdom. I am one with this power, this presence. It is my life. My life is the life of God. And as this is true for me, it's true for each and every person here.
each and every person in YouTube land, each and every person being love and light on the planet is God knowing itself, revealing itself in, through, and as to each of us closer than our breathing. Whew. And so it's from this place of oneness that I surrender myself as an instrument for Spirit to speak through and in and as me. Speak, Father. Your servant heareth. Speak, God. Spirit, your servant heareth. And so I bless our time together. I bless each and every person. I bless each and every journey that is represented by the folks that are here. That we are indeed walking each other home. Mighty companions for a mighty journey. I bless each of us. I bless the musicians. I bless the music. I bless the tech. I bless the board. I bless Jubilee Circle. And call this time good and very good, and it's already complete in the mind and heart of the infinite. Amen. Might need a second. You know, I'm so grateful for my father, and I'm going to tell you right now, God help him. He did the best he could. You know, and I needed him to do more, right? That's what I felt as a little girl, that you know, in my mind now and in my heart, I realized he did the best that he could with the knowledge and understanding that he had, and I needed him to do better. And I'm so grateful that there are so many fathers that are coming forth now that are conscious, that are in places where they can grow in spirituality, grow in consciousness, bring themselves into the present moment. And I remember one of the things I used to tell to my students, because a lot of my students, their fathers were not in their lives. And I said, guess what you get to grow up and be? You get to grow up and be the father that you always wanted to be. And we get to grow, and there are a lot of fathers that have had to take on the roles of mothers, and mothers that have had to take on the roles of fathers. And so we celebrate them. And one of the things that I heard from T.D. Jakes is that our Father gives us our identity. You know, the whole XY chromosome thing. And of our body temple, not of the other. And we can't, I connect that to our heavenly Mother, Father. God gives us our identity. Because since we are one with the Spirit of the living God, all of the qualities that are God are within us. And when I talk about qualities, I talk about peace, love, joy, compassion. We have that. We have access to that so that we can show up and we can radiate outward our identity if we so choose to do so. We can be merchants of hope. But I'm telling you, it's like I'm not up much for beating horses or dead horses or whatever, but it takes work. We have to be able to spend time in silence and quiet and stillness so that we can get to know our consciousness, and as Reverend Michael says, what BS is running the show. And he's not talking about the other BS, he's belief system. Okay? What belief system is running the show? Is the ego running the show? Or is spirit We're leaning in the Spirit, and Spirit is running the show. And it's either love or fear, and some continuum of that. And so as we sit still and in silence and quiet, even if it's a split second, it's enough to start the flow of Spirit. And a lot of fathers are doing that now. A lot of mothers are doing that now. And so what the invitation is for all of us is to begin, as Reverend Michael teaches, to experiment. What would it be like if I just take 5 minutes in the morning? I find a place that's SYBD. Sit your butt down. And be still, or focus on A Course in Miracles mantra or something like that. Just 5 minutes. Take a breath. Well, I don't have time to do that. Well, I can tell you one thing. Time expands. If we spend 5 minutes in the morning, I find that I have more time and get things done more efficiently, effectively. Now, if I showed up at work and I am unmeditated, it's not going to go well for anybody. I know myself. I go over to a friend's house, and they can take one look at me and tell me I hadn't meditated. Go home. And take time to spend that time in silence. And things that we cannot control are circumstances. We can't control if somebody wants to walk out of our life. We have no control over it. I have a mantra that Reverend Cynthia Ambrose gave me, and that is, I am connected to everything and attached to nothing. And I've revisited that mantra. But that doesn't mean I'm not committed. I am committed to serving at Jubilee Circle. And I'm not attached. Because attachment is an attempt to control the uncontrollable. I can't control what happens at Jubilee Circle. All I can control is myself and the work that I'm doing in my own consciousness and how I choose to show up in life. I am committed to a beloved. I'm committed. I'm calm. I'm consistent. And I am not attached, because I can't be. My only attachment is to the Spirit of the living God. And so I have to be willing to do my work. And you can't think your way out of a problem. My best thinking got me in the worst situations I've ever been in. I couldn't think my way out of a box. But so many people want, I got to figure this out. And, as soon as I figure it out, it's going to be all right. As soon as this person changes and does exactly what I want them to do, it'll be right as rain. No. I don't want anybody to change on my behalf. I want them to show up as their authentic self. You couldn't do enough back bends and flips and turns to keep another person happy. It's exhausting. But my job is my own consciousness, to raise my vibration by doing the work. Meditation, study, being in community. That's how I raise my vibration. This morning, I'm going to tell you, I was kind of a funk. But I put on Reverend Michael's Transcend Dance. And me and Leo, which is my new little puppy, got in the kitchen, and we would just throw it down in the kitchen with Reverend Michael. And my vibration just automatically, you can't listen to good music and not rise in that. We live in a vibrational universe. So, God doesn't speak English or Spanish or anything like that. It's vibration. And so we do the work on ourselves. And even Joshua ben Joseph said, as I rise, I draw others up with me. So as we do the work, it has a direct impact on everybody that's around us. They feel it. They sense it. Because we've done the work. That's what we showed up to do. We didn't show up, as Reverend Michael says, to get high. We showed up to rise in consciousness, to wake up to our true nature. We are love in human form. We are merchants of hope. We are miracle workers. But I don't know about you, but I don't always feel like a miracle worker. I feel like I need a miracle. I feel like Jelly Roll. I only talk to God when I need a favor, and God, I need a favor. And that's not true. I talk to God all the time. But anyway, but I love that song. So I have to do the work in my consciousness. And Reverend Mike, I saw Reverend Wendy Friday night in our community gathering, and she said that when people first come to Agape, they all want to be like Reverend Michael. They want his consciousness. We can't have anybody else's consciousness. We are individual expressions. Pharrell Williams said, if you try to be like somebody else, the best you ever going to be is second best. So we are each responsible for our own journey. Now, we can share steps and things that work for us to raise our consciousness, but I can't give you my consciousness and you can't give me mine, and then some folk know I don't know. So we got to do the work. So meditation, prayer, study, being in community. And another thing that I have learned from the Rev is we need a lift and shift partner. A lift and shift partner. Someone that we can call upon who will remind us of the truth of our being and help us to remember the truth so that we can raise our vibration to the truth. I'm not calling to get them to co-sign and say, look what so-and-so did. That was so wrong, and let me wallow in it for a while. My lift and shift partner will sit there and listen to me for a minute and then ask me what is the truth. And so Jen Norton, my beloved partner, and I just visited her this weekend, is my lift and shift partner. I am her lift and shift partner, so that we shift our perception back to reality with a capital R, which is the only thing that is happening here is either love or a call for love. And some people seem to be confused about love. Love is not a wimpy word. It does not put up with loveless behavior. Because what we allow teaches more than anything you will ever know. If we allow loveless behavior from another, that teaches that person that that's how I want to be treated. That's the way I deserve to be treated. Bring it on. It also teaches everyone who bears witness to our allowance of this behavior. We are children, beings of light, love, and light of the most, all the power that there is, the presence. We are love. And we can fix our lips together and say, no, not on my watch. When you can speak to me in a civil way, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. But until that point, I can't. But you know what we do? And I found this with my mother. We carry and take on abuse from another. As long as they abuse us a little less than we abuse ourselves. My mother stayed with a man who beat her, chased me and my sister around, trying to molest us, until she got to the point where it was enough. He was abusing her more than she was abusing herself. And there's a way of escape that is always made. And the timing is perfect. We are love in human form. We are here to represent the presence. But unless we have done the work on ourselves and on our consciousness, we don't have anything to give. And I can say, I am willing to see this better. I surrender this to you. I know that there's a better way. I know God is making a way out of seeming no way, and I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how the escape is going to be made. I don't know where the job is. I don't know where the relationship is, but I know a way is being made out of no way, and I can't wait to see how this works out. Whew, my vibration just went. Whew. What a shift to be able to realize that we each have that power of realization as long as we raise our vibration, affirm the truth. And we can't be attached to outcome. We can't be attached to our timeline. We can't scoot somebody along. All right, come on, baby. Your spiritual growth need to pick up a little bit here. We can't do that. It's divine timing. Each person's path is perfect for them. And so the best prayer that we could ever pray for another person is the will of God be done, because will is thought. And the only thought that God has for his children is perfect love and happiness. Perfect joy and happiness. And so, if somebody wants to go, it's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. It took me 3 years to deal with that on a spiritual level. Until finally, in a Candace workshop, writer's workshop, it was revealed to me that that was exactly what I asked for. So what a gift that was. If someone that disconnects from you, can't be with you, don't take it personal. It's not about you. What is about us is our consciousness and our work. And we have to forgive the past, because it is never, ever. I heard Adele say this, because they were asking her about her music, and they said, what about your songs? And she said, well, it's all of life. It's just life. It's never as good as you thought it was or as bad. It's just life. So we have to be willing to release the past. And one of my favorite lessons in the course is, the past is over, it can touch me not. It can't touch me unless I keep come on, past. Let me bring you into my future, in the present moment. Then we recreate the past. Or if we're foreboding joy, I can't be too happy. I can't be too happy because the other shoe won't drop. That's a hard one for me. I know the other shoe's going to drop. Let me hold off a little bit of joy. Let me hold back a little bit just in case. What if we experimented with leaning into joy, as we've talked about before? Paying attention to where our feelings are taking us. We're a feeling vibrational universe. And if I feel a tug, that's my sign. SYBD. Sit your butt down, as Rev said. Bring myself back to the present moment. Because I sure as, don't want to recreate that past. I was not a good person. So just pay attention, self-awareness. And I'm talking about forgiving the past. One of the things that I'm so grateful for, coming from a divorced family, is that near my father's life, I think it was about a year before he passed, and my mother had always told me, don't talk to your daddy. And used to talk smack about him all the time. I don't want you to spend time with him. You don't need to be around him. But toward the latter part of my mother's life and his life, she said, you really need to go see your daddy. I said, what? I need to what? I said, you've been telling me for the last 15 years to stay away from him, and now you want me to go see him? She said, yes, Deborah Ann. And so as the universe would have it, as spirit would have it, my father was getting married, I think, for a third or fourth time. I don't know. So, it's genetic, I think, and sometimes. But I used to tell people I'm genetically predisposed to divorce until I decided I wasn't. But his wife wanted us all to be together for the wedding. And she insisted on all of the children coming to the wedding. Wow, what a gift that was. I'm grateful for my mother, because she said, you need to see your daddy. I'm grateful that this woman I barely knew insisted upon the children being at the wedding. And so I was able to heal this relationship with my father. And I was taking a class in Walterboro for recertification, so I got to spend a whole semester staying at his house because it was too far to drive back and forth. And so we had meals together, grilled together, and had conversations. And one of the best gifts my father gave me was this statement. He said, I remember how you were, and I see how you are now. And I have no clue how you got here. I took a breath and I said, Daddy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're here together now. Forgiveness is our function as miracle workers. I have no idea what my father went through in his life. And yes, I needed him to be more. But I was so grateful to go fishing with him, to work on projects with him just for 6 months to a year. And Christmas Eve that year, my father was at my brother's house with my mama, my stepdaddy, my daddy, and my stepmama, and everybody was all in the same house, having a great time. And my father walked out on the porch to walk me out. And he watched. I saw him in the rearview mirror. He did not take his eyes off of me. My father loved me. He didn't know how to show it early on. And he did the best that he could. And I have a power and a presence within me that has never, ever left me or abandoned me. We each have this to lean into. That is our full-time job. Our consciousness is our responsibility. And I invite you to experiment, because you don't want to be in the same space this time next year. So catch a vision of the person you want to step into and show up as. Because we go into these places, we go into the upper room, and then we come out and we do life. We do life. We do what's in front of us. We do what Candace did in the parking lot when she saw this person in anger as a child of the Most High God and greeted him with love and peace, the presence of the alternative. That's what we get to do. We experiment. Try it out. Try it out for a month. Don't want to do a month, try a week. Money back guarantee. So, because experiment leads to experience. And experience leads to realization. And that is enough to say, oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's sweaty. That's all right.
jubilants does it take? How many jubilants does it take to change a microphone? 1 million. Okay. All right, testing, 1, 2. Y'all can hear me, okay. How many in here got daddy issues? We all do, yeah, we all do. I tell you, I spent my 20s and my 30s, well, since I was 9 years old, I spent all that time being angry because my dad left. And you can't live like that. You can't. I swore I was going to die in a road rage accident before the age of 30 in Atlanta, where you can do that. That can happen. That can happen. And I've had a few of them. But I'm telling you what, people, living in a state of anger is exhausting. It's exhausting. By the time I was in my mid-30s, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This is exhausting. And I listened to a man, I call Wayne Dyer my gateway guru, because I heard him tell this story about his own father. And if you believe the metaphysical idea that we choose our parents, when we come into this world, we choose the parents. You know, we don't know when we get here, we don't know. But before we get here, we choose them because they're going to teach us a lesson. And Wayne Dyer said that he apparently chose a complete jerk for a father. He used a different word, but to teach him how to forgive. To teach him forgiveness. That was his father's function in his life. And it resonated with me. My father died when I was 17. And I told my mama, because he left our family when I was 9, and I told my mother, I said, you know what? Dad died when I was 9. Y'all just getting around to burying the body. And that's how I felt. I hated that man for a long time. And Wayne Dyer talks about how he went to foster family, and he lost track of his father, and he decided that to move forward, he needed to forgive his father. And so he went in search of his father, and he discovered that his father had died. And so he decided to make a pilgrimage to his father's grave to forgive him. And y'all, I did this in my 30s because my father was dead. And, you know, it's easier to forgive a corpse, right? I mean, you don't have to have an argument or anything. But forgiveness, man, it's not for my father anyway. It was for me. It really was so I could move forward in a more loving and joyous life. My father is buried, he was on Jekyll Island when he died. He was living on Jekyll Island with his second wife. And he died when he was 53 years old. So I have outlived my daddy. But I went to his gravesite. I had to find it again. I had to get in touch with my brother, and I didn't know where it was. I was 17. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't care the man was dead. So I finally found his gravesite, and I got there, and I had done all my therapy. I'd been with the therapist and had done all my forgiveness work, trying to do it up front. And I'll tell you what, I got in front of that grave, and I lost my mind. It was a rainy, drizzly, crappy sort of day. I mean, it was just the day for this, right? I'm standing at that grave, and every single bit of my anger at my father came out. I thought I was ready, and I'm like, shh, I'm not ready. I don't forgive you. I don't. I must have looked like a crazy person. Anybody driving by that cemetery, this woman standing there yelling at a gravestone. Yeah, I'm sure I'm probably not the first. You're right. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how God is a drama queen. And she sure is. So it's drizzly, and I'm there yelling at my father, and I'm like, doggone it, I have come all this way, all these years, all that therapy, to say I ain't ready. No, I'm going to be ready. So I just gathered everything together, and I looked at that gravestone, and I said, Dad, I forgive you. And I meant it. I meant it. Dad, I forgive you. And I'll tell you what, people, the clouds parted, the sun came shining through. The only thing that was missing was the angels going, oh! And I'm like, okay, God, you've made your point. Love that drama. But the key is, and Father's Day is a good time to talk about this because a lot of people have issues with their father. But the key is the one lesson that we are here to learn is to forgive. That's the only lesson we have to learn. That's it. And boy, we are thick, aren't we? We can't learn that lesson because that lesson's hard. We think we have to let go of something. We think we have to sacrifice something. We think we have to sacrifice who we are, what we are, how we live and move and have our being in the world. Because anger gave me life for at least 2 decades of my life. And I felt like I had to sacrifice that. People are going to take advantage of me if I'm not an angry, cynical person. And you know what? They do. But they took advantage of me then, too, just in different ways. So the question is, who do you need to forgive? And I'll tell you right now, the top person that should be coming to everybody's mind is yourself. Because you can't forgive anybody until you forgive yourself. And I'll tell you what, all minds are joined. If you forgive yourself, everybody else gets forgiven too. That's just how it works. But we think forgiveness is hard because we got to do it really for us, ourselves. That's what I'm saying. That trip to Dad's tombstone, that wasn't for him, it was for me. He's dead. He knows everything. He's up there going, I did my job. I did my job. And now you're doing yours, you're forgiving me. My daddy was proud of me that day. Who do you need to forgive? Breathe deeply. If you're watching on the YouTube, you see you're kind of seeing a different view because we moved everything sort of over this way. So welcome to your new perspective there. Breathe deeply. The past isn't even what you think it was. So let's forget all that stuff from the past. The only thing that we should bring into the present is everything that was loving from the past. Forgive all the things that weren't. And so for those of you who haven't given to Jubilee in the past, we forgive you. But now is your time to redeem yourself, yes. But seriously, this is a time of giving, a time that we need to come together and support this community because we are small, but we are mighty, and we can do a lot, even with just a few people in the room, just a few people in this world go deep enough and forgive themselves and love themselves, and the whole world gets healed, because none of us are healed alone. So the people who are in this room are the people who need to be in this room, the people who want to be in this room, and the people who want to watch, the people who want to go deeper, the people who really want to embrace a transformation that is complete and full and amazing. So you become deeper and more loving. And you know that it's not about your own personal salvation. It's about the salvation of the world, and we do that through personal transformation. As we do our work, the whole world gets healed. And that makes you say, oh yeah. And that's what you're supporting here. That deep transformation. And we ask your support so we can keep doing it. So I'm going to pass the basket around the room. You want to pass that around the room? And if you're out there in TV land, you can go. Yeah, some have already given online. And if you can give online, there's a PayPal link and a Venmo link at jubileecircle.com. And you can go there and donate. And you can also write a good old-fashioned check and put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, put it in the mail, and to address it to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina, 29240, and that will get to us. And we have a bank account and all those fancy things, and we can cash that thing. So thank you so much for your support in the past. Thank you for your support now and your support in the future. Oh, yeah. And let's do a few announcements before we let our folks go on the YouTube. Just a few things coming up next Sunday. I will be preaching. I've forgotten how to do it, but we'll figure it out. And next Sunday is also actually my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I'll be preaching. But we are going to start our VIA Positiva next week, because summer is, the summer solstice is coming up. I'll get to you, Deb. The summer solstice is coming up. And in the next week, I think, yep. And so we'll start our VIA Positiva theme, and that will be loving what is. And so in this quarter, we're going to explore how we can learn to love our outer circumstances and how changing the world within will change the world without. So we're going to be able to look, the Course in Miracles calls it, look at the crucifixion, but do not dwell on it. See the reality that's before you so you can see it differently as well. All right, the cabarets this month, woo! We had such a good time, and I'm telling you, if you have not been to the cabaret that we do twice a month here, you are missing something. So July 11th, Tuesday, July 11th, and Thursday, July 13th, we're going to do our monthly after-dinner cabaret. Kathy Hartzog and Lisa Ackley will be performing standards and show tunes this coming month in July. We always serve dessert and non-alcoholic beverages, BYOB otherwise. Tickets are $20 for the cabaret. And coming up in August, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, August 18th, 19th, and 20th, the Columbia Light Opera Society will be here doing two operettas. One of them is Gilbert and Sullivan's Trial by Jury. Friday and Saturday night shows start at 8. There's a Sunday matinee at 3. Those will be $10 at the door. Everything else applies, BYOB, and we'll have some snacks. Remember, Sundays at 10:30 is Soundy School. 7:30 on Wednesday is a Course in Miracles discussion group. And Michael, so the thing is July 9th. So July 9th, David, who's here today, David Ezel, and who all is doing all this? Come up here and talk. Deb, what did you have to say before?
Well, you mentioned birthdays.
Uh-huh.
Mine is tomorrow.
Yours is tomorrow. Deb's birthday is tomorrow. Yay! We'll sing to you in just a second. Hang on. Let's get Michael to use one of these.
So we have a quintet made of David Ezel, myself, Anita Hauser, Larry, whose last name I cannot recall. Farina. And Ann Ezel on bass. And we are playing mostly swing music. I got improvisatory music for spiritual people.
All right.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We also threw in a movement from a violin concerto. So if you want to hear a violin concerto, I'm going to be doing that. Myself, David, playing the orchestra part, as well as other people. And it's going to be a great afternoon. It's 4 o'clock on July 9th. Free, but offering, or whatever we're going to call it, donations are accepted.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be here, yeah. All right. So we're going to say goodbye to the folks on the YouTube. Just remember, if the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. That's what Meister Eckhart tells us. And so together we say thank you, and we say, oh yeah. We'll see you next week.